Today we'll start a new chapter, that is magnetic material, and this class is important for third semester diploma electrical students. So before going to this chapter, let us first understand the learning objectives of this chapter. So after the completion of this chapter, we will be the explain the basis of classification of magnetic materials into various categories. We can also be able to explain the terms magnetization, magnetic saturation, hysteresis effect, residual magnetism, hysteresis loop, hysteresis losses, ED currents, Curie point in relation to magnetic materials. Also, we will be in a, we can also differentiate the characteristics of soft and hard magnetic material. We can also explain the criteria for selecting a soft magnetic material for applications such as the core of electrical machine and transformers. We can also explain advantages of alloying steel with silicon for use as core materials in the machines and transformers. Explain the advantages of using grain oriented sheet steel as core material for transformer. Explain the use of nickel iron alloys as core material in audio and low radio frequency applications. And the last, we will be also in a position to state the qualities of material needed for manufacture of permanent magnets. So let us start. So let us first understand the introduction part, why this chapter is needed and how this magnetic material plays an important role in the field of electrical engineering. So material which can be magnetized are called as magnetic material. So those material which cannot be magnetized can't be called as a magnetic material. So when magnetized, such materials create a magnetic field around them. So students, in your practicals in your previous semesters, in your first year classes, you might have known about the field of electric field. So if there is a electric field, then it will be surrounded by magnetic field. In other words, we can also say that if a conductor is carrying current, then it is associated with field surrounding by that conductor. According to the atomic theory of all materials are made up of atoms. Each atom consists of nucleus and a number of electrons revolve around the nucleus in orbit. So in our previous chapters in this subject only, we have understood and we have also learned about the concept of atoms, the surrounding nucleus, and also the valence electrons. So each atom consists of a nucleus and the number of electrons revolving around the nucleus in orbit. The number of electrons in an atom varies from material to material. For example, hydrogen atom consists of only one electron since its atomic number is 1. The atom of iron consists of 26 electrons. All the electrons around the nucleus do not revolve in the same orbit but do so in different orbits. So students, if you have remembered that we have applied a rule to find out how and how many number of valence electrons will be situated in the outermost orbit and in the next orbits also. So here also, if the atom consists of 26 electrons, then what shall be the distribution? It is your part to carry on and tell us how and what is the number of electrons shared in their orbits. So you just try to make a diagram in which you will have to place this 26 electrons and try to find out what is the number of valence electrons, right? So all the electrons around the nucleus do not revolve in the same orbit, but they do in different orbits. That is quite obvious. So since current in the flow of electron, the rotation of electrons in the orbit is therefore equivalent to the circulation of current. So now students, The flow of electrons or the revolving of the electrons also suggests us the flow of current. So in other words, we can also say that there is a field existing with with these electrons. So it is already learned that when studying electromagnetism, that when current flows through a coil, it creates an MMF. So what is MMF? It is the magnetomotive force. So thus the direction of motion of the electrons in the various orbits is such that they develop MMFs in opposite direction, thus cancelling each other. However, in magnetization however in magnetic materials such as iron and steel, there are number of unneutralized orbit which produce a resultant MMF, creating magnetic poles called magnetic dipoles. In an unmagnetized material, the dipoles are scattered at random. In a magnetized material, the dipoles are lined up with exciting MMF. The property of a material by virtue of which it allows itself to be magnetized is called permeability. So students, what is permeability? If it will be asked what you have to answer, then it is the property of a material by virtue of which it allows itself to be magnetized, can be called as permeability. So it depends upon material to material. Suppose there is a magnetic material, there are two magnetic materials, so their permeability will be different if these two materials are different. For most materials except those which are magnetic material, the value of permeability is constant in the same is the same as for free space. The permeability of free space is denoted by mu naught or mu 0 and equals to 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. So you have to remember this value. This is mu 0 equals to 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. It is a constant. The permeability of air is almost same as for free space, that is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. Material which can be magnetized are called magnetic materials. For such materials, permeability mu is given by mu is equal to mu naught into mu r. So this is the relation, mu naught is equal to mu r. This relation also you have to remember. What is mu r here? The mu r is known as your relative permeability, and the value of mu r or your relative permeability varies from material to material. Suppose there are two different materials, then mu r will be different. It will depend upon the type of material. So mu r varies from material to material and depends on which the material is capable of being magnetized. It may have a value of around as high as 2500. So that is a number just to indicate that it can be so much higher also. From the study of electromagnetism, it is known that in free space the magnetic flux density, capital B, it is its denotation, is related as the intensity of magnetization by capital H as follows. So what is the relation? It is B is equal to mu naught into H, that is this one. Now where B is measured in Weber per meter square and capital H is in ampere per turns per mm. Mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. It has been found that if the same magnetic intensity, that is capital H, which was applied in free space is mentioned above, is now applied in a solid, the resulting magnetic flux density, capital B, has a different value than that obtained in the expression 6.2, that is this expression. B is equal to mu naught into H. Right. Now, this means that in a solid the value of permeability is different from mu naught and may be expressed as mu. Thus, in a solid material, B is equal to mu into H, where mu not equal to mu naught, and the expression B is equal to mu into H may be written as B is equal to mu into H plus M, that is equal to mu H. So this is the relation, students. You have to remember this one. B is equal to mu naught whole into H plus capital M, which can be also written as equal to mu into H. So M is expressed in the equation 6.4 is called magnetizing or magnetization of the solid. Thus, the solid material is somehow responsible for the appearance of the extra magnetic flux density mu naught M in addition to the flux density in free space, that is mu naught into H. A non-magnetic material becomes B is equal to mu naught into H. Now, the magnetization or M of a material can be regarded as a resulting from the alignment of magnetic dipoles of the material parallel to the applied field intensity capital H. This means that the more the applied field intensity, the greater will be the number of dipoles which will be aligned parallel to the applied field. Therefore, the magnetization is proportional to the applied field, and that gives you M is directly proportional to H, which also when we replace this proportionality constant will give you M is equal to X into H, where X is the constant of proportionality and is called susceptibility. Susceptibility, we have B is equal to mu naught into H plus XH, that is again equal to mu naught H whole into 1 plus X, which will be also written as B is equal to mu naught mu R into capital H. Now, mu R is equal to 1 plus X is called relative permeability of the medium. For a non-magnetic material, X is equal to 0. That means mu R will give you 1. So students, you just go through this chapter. This was just the beginning of magnetic material. It is very important as far as your exams are concerned. So go through the video, and if you have any trouble, please ask us. Thank you.